The night was thick with fog, and a chill hung in the air, like an omen. Maya shivered as she stepped off the platform of the small, deserted train station. She had missed the last regular train home, and the idea of spending the night at the station was out of the question. As she looked around, searching for some sign of hope, she noticed an old man sitting on a bench, staring intently at a dusty timetable. "Excuse me," she called out, approaching him. "Is there another train coming tonight?" The old man looked up, his eyes wide with surprise. "The midnight train," he whispered, almost to himself. "It comes once in a blue moon. Not many know about it." Maya's heart skipped a beat. "A train? At midnight? Will it take me to the city?" The old man nodded slowly. "It'll take you where you need to go. But be warned, young lady, not everything on that train is what it seems." Desperate to get home, Maya dismissed his cryptic warning with a polite nod. She had heard her share of ghost stories, but tonight, she just needed to get home. She settled onto the bench next to the old man, waiting for this mysterious midnight train. As the clock struck midnight, a distant whistle echoed through the fog. Maya's heart raced with anticipation. The sound grew louder, accompanied by the rhythmic chugging of an approaching locomotive. Out of the fog emerged an old-fashioned steam train, its lights piercing through the darkness. It came to a slow halt in front of the platform, and the doors creaked open. The old man gave Maya a solemn look. "Remember, things are not always as they seem." With a mix of excitement and unease, Maya boarded the train. Inside, the carriage was dimly lit, with plush seats and a vintage charm. She found an empty compartment and settled in, grateful to be on her way home. As the train began to move, Maya took in her surroundings. The compartment was eerily quiet, and she realized she was not alone. Across from her sat a woman in a red dress, her face pale and her eyes wide with fear. Next to her, a man in a suit stared out the window, his expression blank and distant. Maya attempted a friendly smile. "Hi, I'm Maya. Is this train always this quiet?" The woman in the red dress glanced at Maya, but said nothing. The man continued to stare out the window, as if he hadn't heard her. Feeling a bit uneasy, Maya settled back in her seat and tried to relax. The rhythmic clatter of the train tracks was almost soothing, and she closed her eyes, hoping to doze off. Her rest was short-lived. The compartment doors slid open, and a tall man in a dark uniform entered. His eyes were hidden under the brim of his hat, and his presence sent a shiver down Maya's spine. "Tickets, please," he said in a low, gravelly voice. Maya fumbled in her bag and handed over her ticket. The conductor examined it carefully before handing it back. He moved on to the other passengers, who produced their tickets without a word. As he left the compartment, Maya couldn't shake the feeling that there was something off about him. She glanced at the woman in the red dress, who was now staring straight ahead, her hands clutching the edge of her seat. The train sped through the night, the landscape outside a blur of shadows. Maya tried to engage the other passengers in conversation again, but they remained silent and distant. Frustrated, she decided to explore the train. As she walked down the narrow corridor, she passed several empty compartments. It struck her as odd that such a large train would have so few passengers. She continued until she reached the dining car. The dining car was lavishly decorated, with crystal chandeliers and fine china set on each table. Yet, it was completely empty. Maya's curiosity was piqued, and she decided to take a seat and wait for someone to appear. Minutes turned into an hour, and still, no one came. Maya was about to give up when the door at the far end of the car opened and the conductor entered. He walked straight past her without a glance and disappeared through the opposite door. Feeling a sense of unease, Maya decided to return to her compartment. But when she got back, the woman in the red dress was gone. The man in the suit still sat by the window, but now he was slumped over, unmoving. Panic set in. "Sir, are you okay?" Maya asked, shaking his shoulder. The man didn't respond. His skin was cold to the touch, and Maya realized with horror that he was dead. She stumbled back, her mind racing. What kind of train was this? Maya ran through the train, desperately searching for help. Every compartment she checked was either empty or filled with silent, unmoving passengers. The fear that gripped her was unlike anything she had ever felt. She finally reached the engine car, where she found the conductor. "Please, you have to help me. There's a dead man in my compartment, and the woman is missing." The conductor turned to face her, his eyes now visible under the brim of his hat. They were cold and empty. "This train collects lost souls," he said slowly. "Those who board are here for a reason." Maya's heart pounded. "But I'm not dead. I just wanted to get home." The conductor's expression softened slightly. "Perhaps you're not, but this train will take you where you need to go." Confused and terrified, Maya backed away from the conductor and fled back to her compartment. The train seemed to stretch on forever, with each carriage looking more decrepit than the last. The walls were covered in grime, and the air grew colder. As she ran, she began to see things: fleeting shadows, ghostly figures, and faces in the windows. The train was alive with spirits, and they were all watching her. Maya's mind raced as she tried to piece together what was happening. The old man's warning echoed in her head. Not everything on that train is what it seems. Determined to find a way out, Maya made her way to the rear of the train. She found a small rusted door that led to the outside. With a deep breath, she forced it open and was hit by a blast of cold air. The train was speeding through a dark, endless void. There was no ground, no sky, just an abyss. Desperation clawed at her as she clung to the doorframe, contemplating the impossible leap. As she hesitated, the conductor appeared behind her. "Jump if you wish," he said, his voice carrying a note of sympathy. "But know that this train has a purpose. You are here for a reason." Maya turned to face him, tears streaming down her face. "I don't understand. Why me?" The conductor stepped closer, his expression unreadable. "Sometimes we must face our fears to find our way. The train will take you where you need to go." Maya's mind was a whirlwind of emotions. She knew she couldn't jump into the void, but staying on the train seemed just as perilous. She took a step back into the train and closed the door, the cold air receding. "Okay," she said, her voice trembling. "I'll stay, but I need answers." The conductor nodded and led her back to the front of the train. They passed through the carriages, and Maya saw the faces of the passengers, some peaceful, others tormented. She realized that they were all trapped in their own personal hells. In the engine car, the conductor gestured for her to sit. "This train is a journey of the soul," he explained. "It takes us to the places we fear most, to confront the truths we hide from ourselves." Maya's mind reeled. "But I don't have any deep, dark secrets. I'm just trying to get home." The conductor's eyes softened. "Sometimes the journey is about discovery. Look within yourself, Maya. What is it that you're running from?" Maya closed her eyes and took a deep breath. Memories flooded back: her parents' death in a car accident, her struggle to keep going, her fear of being alone. She had buried those feelings deep, but now they surfaced, raw and painful. Tears streamed down her face as she opened her eyes. "I've been running from my grief. I never faced it, never allowed myself to heal." The conductor nodded. "And now you have. This train has brought you to this moment of realization. You can find peace now." The train began to slow, and Maya felt a strange sense of calm wash over her. The landscape outside changed, transforming from the dark void into a beautiful, sunlit field. The train came to a gentle stop. The conductor smiled. "This is your stop, Maya. You have faced your fears and found your way." Maya stepped off the train, feeling lighter than she had in years. She looked back, but the train was gone, vanished into thin air. She was alone, but no longer afraid. Maya walked through the field, the sun warming her face. She felt a sense of closure, of a new beginning. She knew she still had a journey ahead of her, but now she was ready to face it. As she reached the edge of the field, she saw a small town in the distance. With a determined smile, she headed towards it, ready to start her new life. The midnight train had taken her where she needed to go, not just home, but to a place of understanding and peace. And for the first time in a long while, Maya felt truly alive.